to be able to take care of it themselves. They don't want to seek advice. Well, we've known that forever. People aren't going to seek advice. You've got to find them and show them a better way to take control of their financial life. And that's what Primerica does every day across the kitchen table.
The financial challenges faced by middle-class families have been widely reported, especially their declining income over the last decade. These families' assets also declined.
The truth is, families spend more time planning a vacation than their financial future. They stuff all the hard financial decisions in a drawer and just ignore it and hope it's going to get better.
Most were willing to acknowledge that in the past they had made at least one really bad financial decision. 2/3 said that they had, and they estimated that these bad decisions had cost them an average of $23,000.
Main Street middle-income families are too important to ignore. They're the backbone of our country. From these families come the leaders and innovators of our future. Only when we help them achieve security do we strengthen the American dream.
Note 5, a new report out today offers some insight into the financial health of middle-class Americans. It's from the Consumer Federation of America and financial service provider Primerica.
And what it shows is what a lot of you are feeling, that the middle class is losing ground. 2/3 of middle-class Americans who were surveyed say they've made some bad financial decisions. Experts also found out that Americans are not saving up for retirement, something they say needs to change.
The reality is, if you start saving for your retirement early, it makes all the difference.
A new study suggests the American middle class is not as well off as it was a decade ago. We found middle class households earn less money today than they did at the start of the last decade, and only slightly more than at the start of the 1990s.
The biggest impediment to getting financially independent is procrastination. The fact that people go, it's too complex, it's too hard, I'll just ignore it and hope it gets better.
This story is so big and it's so relevant to our society that, and Primerica has now brought that to the National Press Club and to the media, and really taking the message to the media and to the public and to the streets in a very big venue and through all forms of media to really bring people's awareness that A, these problems exist, which they know, but more importantly, that there's an answer and they can do something about it and there is hope.
Almost all middle-income families, we believe, have the ability to improve their financial condition by making more sensible spending decisions, by borrowing less money, and by saving and investing more funds. And we at the Consumer Federation of America are trying to provide information and advice that help people to save, reduce debt. And we know that Primerica is also trying to do the same thing.
One of the things we want to do is increase the awareness of Primerica, both to the public and to the people that make policy decisions in Washington, D.C. Yeah, we were at the National Press Club this morning doing a press conference. Now we're in the NBC studio, just, did some filming with NBC. The thing we want to make sure happens now that Primerica is its own company. We're not a Wall Street company, we're a Main Street company. And we want to take that story to people so they understand that their lives may be a financial train wreck, but there's one company that'll tell them the truth and sell them the products they need to get financially independent, and that's Primerica.
All right, how you guys doing tonight? Good, man. Well, hey, I'm excited that you're here. I know if you're a guest, you're probably going, what the heck did I just walk into? It is so packed in here. We fit everybody in here like sardines, right or wrong. We really did. We're excited, man. I'm telling you, you couldn't be at a better place at a better time. Hopefully the person, obviously the person that brought you did a pretty good job of conveying that, because I know the last thing you wanted to do was come to a financial meeting on a Thursday night when you could have been doing something else. Yes or no? I mean, a lot of you had a long day at work and all that kind of stuff. And the reason I say that is because I can kind of relate to you. I got invited down to a meeting like this 77 times. And I mean, the guy you're going to hear from speak, he called me for a year and a half, kept inviting me over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I never showed. And then finally I showed up because my pay got cut, And I said, what do I have to lose? We got started with this great company about 6.5, 7 years ago now. and absolutely has changed our lives. And you guys are going to hear from the guy that actually changed my life in an incredible way tonight, which is why it's so packed out. We have an incredible guest speaker, so hopefully you're ready to hear from him. But as I get started, I just want to let you guys know that if you are brand new, I understand your skepticism because I was sitting in your seat. How fast does 7 years go by? Too fast, right or wrong? I mean, it goes, 7 years is so fast, it's crazy. And so I totally understand your skepticism. I'm very aware that there's a bunch of crap out there. I'm very aware that probably when someone called you and invited you to a meeting, you thought it was going to be at a hotel and they were selling juice. Yes or no? I'm very aware because I know there's all kind of crap out there. And so I want you to know that I understand your skepticism. Although I believe if you're cynical, we just can't help you. I'm sure you guys would agree that the #1 way to guarantee yourself no opportunity in life is to be cynical. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
And so hopefully you'll pay attention tonight. For those of you that I did not get a chance to meet, my name is Jeff Fielstad. My wife and I, Kelsey, started Primerica now 7 years ago. And we just wanted a chance to do something special with our lives. We started here part-time, working 1 night a week our first year. And 1 night a week, our first year, we made $15,000 part-time, which I was a 20-year-old kid. My wife at the time was 17, just turning 18. So can you imagine a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old making an extra $15,000 part-time working 1 night a week is pretty incredible. Would you guys agree with that? And so we were excited. So we quit our jobs at that time. We went full-time. We made $115,000 our first year full-time in Primerica. We were so excited, and that was 6 years ago. And our income just kept growing. Our business kept growing because of this incredible company called Primerica. So with that being said, I'm going to get started. I know if you're a guest here for the first time tonight, you probably had not heard of Primerica until the person sat down with you and did a presentation or talked to you about our company, because we do not do any first-party advertising. You guys saw we were all over the news just barely, right or wrong. You guys saw we were all over the news. But we didn't pay for any of that. We never pay for any form of advertising. So you're never going to see us pay for a billboard. We're never going to pay for a radio ad. We're never going to pay for any of that kind of advertising. Why? Because who really pays for the advertising? The consumer does, right? Like, think about this. The Super Bowl is getting ready to come up. And they pay $4 million for a 30-second spot during the Super Bowl. You guys know that? So $12 million per commercial on average that you see they pay for. $12 million per commercial. And how many commercials do they run usually? A bunch, over and over, right or wrong. Now, they build that cost into their product so the consumer pays more money for an overall product, right? And so we said we could take all that money and provide a better product to the middle class, and then we could pay our agents more money to market. And obviously it worked, because today we're the largest independent financial services marketing organization in North America. There is nobody bigger than us. There's 4,000 offices like this across the United States and Canada. So we have more offices in the United States than Walmart has locations. Is that a pretty big deal? Folks, that's huge. And we are listed on the New York Stock Exchange, so we're a publicly traded company. What does that mean? That means that anybody in this room could go buy stock in our company. You can see who invests in our company. You can see the profits of our company. Any publicly traded company, you can do that. I'm going to talk about why this is such a big deal, because in 2010, we actually went public. And you think about, a lot of people don't know what going public means, but that means you have to raise billions of dollars. Now, we just went through something called the financial crisis. Yes or no? Yes. Now listen, we're a financial services company. So here we are, a financial services company in the middle of the worst financial crisis in American history, and we're trying to get people to invest billions of dollars into our company. And it worked, because we became the most successful company to go public in all of 2010. Is that a big deal? We opened up at $15 a share. Today we're at about $33 a share, so we've had tremendous success. We've been in business since 1977, so 36 years now. And we have 6 million clients, and we've accomplished all of that, like I said, without any national TV or radio advertising. So these are some exciting things happening with our company. And you look at it, as our company was going public, I tell people all the time, I know some people are a little bit skeptical, and they go, well, I want to do my research. I go, well, that's fine. You can do your research. I have nothing wrong with that. But the fact is, there's a lot of companies, when you go public, that invest hundreds of millions of dollars in us. So what happens when you go public? You have to do what they call a road show. So you have to get rooms of people kind of similar to this, but in order to get into the room, you have to be an institutional investor, which means you have to be able to write a check for $10 million or more. So that means you have to have enough to invest $10 million, not just be worth $10 million. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right.
So in order to be an institutional investor, you have to be able to write a check for $10 million or more. And they did meetings like that all across the country. And when these companies come in, do you think they already did some research on us if they're wondering whether or not they're going to write a $10 million check?
Yes.
Probably. So some of these companies that invested big money, we closed today at about, we'll say $30, we closed like $33 a share. It's about where our stock is. Let's say it's $30 a share to make math easy. Okay? For those of you who don't know, you can go Google, like, who is the largest shareholders of Primerica? And there's a company called Morningstar that you can do it with Facebook, you can do it with Google, you can do it with your company if it's publicly traded, and you can know who owns the stock of your company. Any of you guys know that? Well, if you don't, now you learned something, right? But there's companies like Ron Barron, who's a Forbes 400 billionaire. A lot of people know who Ron Barron is, but not a lot of people study Forbes, right? Ron Barron purchased 2.3 million shares of our company. 2.3 million shares at $30 a share is $60 million. Now, do you think before he wrote a $60 million check, he probably knew that it was going to work? Yeah? Yeah? You guys, these are questions, right? You can answer them, right? Yes. Okay. How about Fidelity? Raise your hand if anybody in here ever heard of Fidelity. Yeah, you guys all heard of Fidelity before, right? Fidelity has like 2.5 million shares of our company. They also invested $60 million. You have companies like Vanguard or American Funds. Now, the reason I show these, because if you have a 401k or a pension, there's an 80% chance that your 401k or your pension currently right now is invested into our company. So your 401k is already betting on us. That's pretty powerful, yes or no? Yes. Because 8 out of the 10 largest mutual fund companies in the world are invested in our company, right? You look at this, Wells Fargo just purchased 75,000 shares of our company. It's like $2.5 million bucks, right? And you think about this, I sat down with a Wells Fargo teller not too long ago, and they came back to me and said, well, my general manager said that I need to stay at Wells Fargo. I have better opportunity. So I said, okay, well, what do you make? They go, well, like $12 an hour. I go, okay, well, that's not too good of an opportunity. But what's your general manager make? Well, 50 grand a year. I go, really? So Wells Fargo thought your general manager was worth $50 million. So I showed them this. I said, well, they thought we were worth $2.5 million. So they thought we were worth way more than your general manager. That's pretty big, yes or no, right? Yes. And then there's these companies like, well, you're going to see what we do for clients in a second. And the financial industry has ripped off middle class. You guys just saw the financial crisis, right or wrong? Right. And they meant to do it. Y'all know that? It wasn't like they went, oh, this didn't work the way we planned. And I'm going to prove it to you here in a second. But we replace a lot of policies from a company called Mass Mutual because the fact is they take advantage of the consumer a lot. And so the agents hate us, right? But the company loves us. Someone just knocked on the door? Wow. Other door, right? It's the only way in. That's like a fire escape. I don't even know how they got back there, right? Anyway. But that's funny. But Mass Mutual just invested they just bought 70,000 shares of our company. So hey, the agents might be mad we're replacing the policy, but the company's loving the profits they're making from our company, right? How about, is there any military families in here? Anybody have military in their family? I'm sure there's a lot of them in here, right? USAA just purchased 27,000 shares of our company. Charles Schwab. You have all these companies. How about Warburg Pincus? You guys probably don't know who Warburg Pincus is, but you ever heard of, like, Bloomingdale's? Or how about Neiman Marcus? Right? How about Bausch & Lomb? This is the company that owns all 3 of those companies. You can go Google Warburg Pincus and go look at all the companies they own. They own like 250 of them. They just purchased 16 million shares of our company. They actually own some more on another page, but this is what they just bought. Okay, so this is shareholders buying shares of our company. 16 million shares at $30 a share is $500 million. It's $500 million. Now, do you think they're pretty excited about a company if they're going to invest $500 million cash? Yeah. They are for sure, right? New Jersey Division of Pension and Benefits, New York State Common Retirement Fund. So think about this, the state of New Jersey and the state of New York City. Now, who has more resources to do research on a company than the United States government? Probably nobody, right? And that's powerful. You have companies like Morgan Stanley. And people say, so why is all this stuff happening? Jeff, why your company? Why is it growing? Well, a lot of people don't know that the financial services industry, if you weren't taking advantage of the consumer, if you were doing the right things, can be majorly profitable. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. For some of you guys know that they just recently had like a record Powerball, right? Anybody hear that? Had a record Powerball 2 months ago? So inside